Hi, I'm Jonas.
And I'm Alexis.
This video is all about presenting with confidence.
Believe it or not, even comedians get nervous before a performance. But luckily, there are loads of helpful techniques people in comedy use to get prepared before every performance so that you're making sure that what you say is delivered with style and gusto, whether that's to a small group of people in your class or to a huge auditorium full of people.
Not everyone is born a natural presenter. It's a skill that you learn and develop over time. This is also not something that you're taught in schools. So we're hoping that some of the techniques that we talk about today are going to empower you to make sure that your presentation is as good as it can be.
Firstly, in order to present confidently, you have to be very clear in what you're saying. So you should begin by writing out what you'd like to say.
Does it sound like you? Is it something you would say to a friend or a family member? If not, that might be something worth keeping in mind, as you won't come across as natural when you're doing a presentation.
The second helpful tip is to memorize your presentation in topics or in little segments rather than long paragraphs of text.
Structure it in a way that you're going to be able to recall it and make sure that you can stay on topic. Are there little unnecessary bits? Have you written way too much on one particular subject that you know won't hammer home your point?
You can figure out areas of your text that might need more elaboration, more research, or you can figure out areas that could probably do with being removed. You'll only know this as you write and rewrite, so make sure you get that part clear before you move on to focusing on your presentation skills. I know if you're not feeling especially confident about your presenting skills, it can be really tempting to want to write out a big long script and just stand in front of your classroom with a piece of paper and read it out. While this may seem like the easier option, it can make you trip up on little words, and those long paragraphs of text actually sound really unnatural.
Use bullet points or small little talking points. The rest will come out naturally.
You're actually thinking about the flow of topics in your presentation and how it all makes sense from the beginning right through to the end. There's one surefire way to make sure that you can be presenting confidently on the day of your presentation. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's practice, practice, practice. There's no getting away from it. It's really important that you practice it in order to make sure that you can tell where there are little bits of the presentation where you feel less confident or where you're using fillers like ums and ahs, and make sure that you can root those out.
Practice in front of a family member. Practice in front of a friend. Record yourself and watch yourself back. Get feedback. Make sure you know about some of the nervous habits you might be developing on stage and try and root them out. The more you practice, the more it's going to ensure that your performance is going to be the best that it can be. It might feel a bit embarrassing at first, but you're going to thank yourself later. There are going to be lots of little things that you do during your presentation that are going to make a huge difference between whether or not you come across as confident or nervous. One of the key things is posture.
Before you've even started speaking, the audience can sense if you're feeling comfortable or nervous on stage. So if I were about to watch a presentation that Jonas was giving, and he walked onto the stage with his shoulders slumped, looking at the floor, and every sentence he had lots of ums and ahs and hesitations, even if he had the most brilliant stuff in the world to say, I probably wouldn't really listen to him, because it doesn't feel like he's even confident in what he has to offer to the group. In contrast, if I saw Jonas walk onto the stage with his shoulders back, feet planted in the ground, shoulder width apart, making direct eye contact with the audience, and saying what he had to say without fillers, without ums and ahs, I would probably be really confident in what he had to say, because he feels like he knows what he's talking about and I want to listen. When we're speaking to people in normal day-to-day conversation, it's quite natural to use fillers like ums and ahs. But when you're presenting, those words can actually detract from the important message that you have to say. When you feel like you're about to hesitate and say an or an ah, try to just take a deep breath instead. If you have some water next to you, you can also take a drink while you're figuring out what comes next in your presentation.
Hopefully, some of the skills that we've talked about here today are skills that you can use the next time you have to do any public speaking or a presentation to make sure that you come across as someone oozing with confidence.